let us all do we can to build a better future. So let's just address something that happened yesterday and early this morning as well. Apparently, the wonderful Senate parliamentarian, that's right, the non-elected official, is basically telling Biden and the Democrats that, you know, you can't really do what you want, and now Biden is getting scared.
Oh no, the person that I control, that controls this person, said I couldn't do something. Man, can you imagine a Fortune 500 company where the CEO goes, yeah, I would have, talking to the shareholders, I would have loved to give you 3% increased revenue in 90 days, but the secretary of my vice president said I couldn't, so I didn't.
And what's the end result? Sadly, now we're seeing the Biden administration really start begging the GOP for support. They're trying to water down their infrastructure bill. Remember that infrastructure bill? Now,
remember the one that we said that eventually they would just give Republicans everything they wanted, even though they controlled, quote unquote, controlled everything in the House and Senate? Well,
and don't forget the executive branch too. Yeah, they control the presidency, the Senate, the House.
I don't know if Biden really could be said to be in control, so I might want to leave it out.
Better yet, correction, because you know what? It's important that we are clear. Yes. In theory, he is in charge of the presidency. In theory, the Democrats can actually do bold progressive moves. In theory, but because they're corporate prostitutes, just like their Republican colleagues, nothing will fundamentally change. I know I keep using that word, but let's face it, it's a fact. And sadly,
I actually did get an email from a group representing prostitutes, and they said they don't want their name associated. It's too dirty what they do.
You know what? And those prostitutes are right. They're absolutely correct. Yep, sex workers, take back the name from the corporate politicians.
We don't want to sully sex workers with politics.
Yeah, because politics just ruins everything. So now, because of this bill, this infrastructure bill that's being watered down, it looks like it's going to be going down lower than $1 trillion. And Daniel, to your statement, again, correct me if I'm wrong, at the bare minimum, we need at least $10 trillion worth of money.
This is like the U.S. is a house that needs, you know, $100,000 worth of repairs. This is the homeowner going, I could do 5,000.
You know, that really hit close to home too, and you know, but that's all good, man. Don't worry, because like I know a lot of people that just don't invest into their housing and build things. But hey, don't take my word for it. Check out this video from Case Study QB, because let's face it, folks, the Democrats just have no spine at all. Let's play this first video.
Is making big concessions on a massive infrastructure deal to try and get Republicans on board, but it may not be enough. He meets again today with the GOP's top negotiator after shrinking the size of his proposal and changing how he plans to pay for it. Weijia Zhang is at the White House. Weijia, what's in the president's latest offer?
Oh, good morning, Anthony, and good morning to everybody. You are exactly right. The president is not only budging on the size and what's in the plan, but also how to foot the bill. You might remember that initially he wanted to raise the corporate tax rate from 21 to 28%. Republicans staunchly opposed that. In a meeting Wednesday with West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito, Mr. Biden proposed an alternative, a 15% minimum tax on corporations. The goal there to target the dozens of companies that have paid little to nothing in federal corporate income taxes. Another concession from President Biden, slashing new spending on infrastructure from over $2 trillion down to roughly $1 trillion. That could be a tough needle to thread, though. Republicans have so far only been willing to spend about a quarter of that.
Weijia, the president's concessions, particularly on the corporate tax rate, are likely to anger progressives in the party. What is the calculation that the president's making here?
They're not going to do anything.
So, Anthony, the bottom line is President Biden wants a bipartisan deal, but you're right. We have to watch the reaction from progressives on the left today who see repealing those Trump corporate tax cuts as a sticking point. Now, even though Mr. Biden might agree, he understands that keeping the corporate tax rate right where it is a red line for Republicans. If they don't make any progress, however, there's always the option of using the reconciliation process, which would only require 50 votes in the Senate. And then you'd probably hear the talk of raising those taxes again. But that's not a guarantee either. They would need every single Democrat on board, and there are even some moderates like West Virginia's Joe Manchin who are not there yet. In fact, he just said he wants to see the White House and Republicans spend more time on hammering out a deal. Anthony.
Weijia Zhang at the White House. Thanks, Weijia.
So Prince Joe Manchin is the one that can dictate terms now, because let's face it, we know how Sinema and Manchin are going to vote. They're going to vote conservative. Remember, wasn't too long ago, Sinema was once part of the Green Party and a progressive darling, and now she curtsies with a thumbs down, gives her colleagues a cake, and drinks her wonderful iced coffee with FU ring right there towards anyone that's there being critical of her. I mean, she's lost touch. So the sad fact is that, you know, this whole reconciliation, remember, the Senate parliamentarian gave a warning. This might be the only time you can do this, with a big threat wagging her finger. That's Elizabeth McDonald, who's the Senate parliamentarian, a non-elected official. I'm going to, sorry. Oh my goodness. A non-elected, a non-elected official is telling elected officials what to do.
The VP of a company's secretary is telling us what to do, and everyone's like, well, I guess we got to listen to this person who doesn't really have any say on the matter anyway.
Yeah, so again...
you know what Joe Biden could do if he really wanted to get around this, if he cared? He would just go, you will change your mind or you will be fired. Because I control you, because I control the VP. Simple.
So how about a breath of hot air? Let's hear what Senator Bernie Sanders has to say about his good Democratic colleague, Joe Manchin. Let's play this video. Shot again, the Case Study QB. This is like a Case Study QB show.
They're from Senator Manchin, very clear about his intention to keep the infrastructure talks bipartisan. He also wouldn't totally rule out getting rid of the filibuster either. He was saying we're going to make the Senate work. Do you hold out for hope that he may still move on the filibuster?
Well, all I can say is I want to make the Senate work. I think we all do, the American people do. What does that mean? What it means is you do what the American people want us to do, Anderson. And the truth is that for the last 4 decades, wages in America for workers have been stagnant. We're seeing massive income and wealth inequality. We're the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all or have paid family leave.
We know
half of our people are working paycheck to paycheck.
Yep,
to make the Senate work, you got to start doing what the American people want us to do, and that is stand up for working families and not just for the top 1%. And when you do that, that is called democracy. It's called majority rule. It is making the Senate work, and that's what we have got to do.
So you're for getting rid of the filibuster?
At this particular moment, when you had Mitch McConnell right on your screen, McConnell attempted to do everything he could to obstruct the Obama agenda, and he has made it very clear. Let's give the guy credit. He's out there. He's going to do everything he can to obstruct Joe Biden's agenda. So our only alternative now is to use reconciliation as we did for the American Rescue Plan, which was so important to the American people, getting direct payments, cutting childhood poverty in half, extending unemployment, and was a very popular program. We did that with 50 votes plus the vice president, and it appears to me that's exactly what we're going to have to do again if we're going to be successful in creating the millions of good-paying jobs that we desperately need, dealing with the dysfunctional child care and pre-K system, dealing with healthcare, dealing with higher education. Yeah. If we're going to stand up for...
Okay, so there's Bernie Sanders doing his typical, talks. But, I mean, again...
I still have my stump speech memorized.
Yes, exactly. But the sad fact is, and let's get this other video set up, Bernie, you got to call out the Democrats. I mean, there were 8 Democrats that voted against the $15 minimum wage increase. Those 8 Democrats were important for a lot of working class families. Those 8 Democrats could have made the lives of a lot of people who are struggling that much easier. Now, again, $15 minimum wage increase needs to be higher. I'm going to quote our good friend Roger Meadows, make it $40. But, Sinema and Manchin were the 2 key figures leading that push to not get a $15 minimum wage increase. It's just not the GOP, Bernie. We know about the GOP. We know what the Republican establishment is going to do. They're not going to do anything. But you got to call out your party, because if you guys can't fight, why should we vote for you? Let's play this next video.
Need to do is use reconciliation. And of course, we need to get rid of the filibuster.
Senator Manchin said that, the Senate was never designed for one party to go it alone. And Mano also asked the senator if he was open to, to creating just a limited, a carve out essentially to eliminate the filibuster, just to pass voting legislation on a simple majority party line vote. He said he was not, citing the concern that Republicans would use that against Democrats when they're next in power, saying what goes around comes around. Doesn't he have a point? I mean, is Manchin actually protecting Democrats for when the Republicans are in control?
I think not, Anderson. And I'll tell you something. Maybe the first test of this whole thing will not be on a reconciliation bill in order to create the millions of jobs we need and deal with so many of the infrastructure and climate issues that we have to deal with. The very first test of it may be as to whether or not we remain, for all intended purposes, a democracy. I think you are more than aware, the American people are more than aware, that in Georgia, in Texas, in states all over this country, what Republicans are doing in an absolutely shameful, disgraceful, cowardly way is making it harder for people of color, for poor people, for young people to vote. So they understand, I suspect, that their agenda of tax breaks for billionaires and cutting Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid is unpopular. So instead of addressing the real issues facing working people, they're trying to make it hard for people who might vote Democratic to vote. And what we are going to be bringing up within the next month is the For the People Act, which basically says the very radical statement that in America, if you're 18 years of age or older and a citizen, you have the right to vote. That we should not have the crazy kind of gerrymandering that we have in states around this country, and that we should not have the kind of dark money, billionaire corporate money, which is doing so much harm without disclosure. So that's what we're fighting for. I suspect we're going to get zero Republican support for that. And the only way we are going to go forward to protect.
Okay, so
I just want to throw out a radical opinion on this. If I was president, any person in any lawmaker in any state, local, state, federal, that even attempts to restrict voting rights is now going to be branded a terrorist and black bagged and sent to Gitmo. So we can actually fill that back up with the right people. That's a radical stance. Saying people should vote is common sense.
So look, here's the thing. We don't have a real democracy. And the thing is, Joe Manchin saying one party alone, the Senate wasn't designed that way. We are ruled by one party.
The Senate was designed before there were parties.
Exactly.
Shut up.
And more importantly, we live in a neoliberal, neoconservative political system where, again, the Democrats and Republicans, they're friends with each other. The same people who buy Democratic lawmakers buy Republican lawmakers. So there is one party. It's a corporatist party, all right? And the thing is, they put on this little song and dance to make it seem like there's a difference, Team Red and Team Blue. And look, if you're a diehard vote blue no matter who, or K-Hive, or a diehard Republican red Republican voter, guess what? You are a very good puppet. And I'm not trying to be mean about this. You're just a very good puppet because you are under the assumption that your Republican and Democratic lawmakers in the Senate and House actually give a damn about you. You don't have a seat at the damn table. Now, I want to pull up the last video. I don't know. Are you tired of hearing Bernie speak about
a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's disregard that final video and put in our final notes on this. Look, we've said this on the show. Numerous other shows have said this too. The infrastructure bill is going to be watered down. It's going to be watered down to appease the Republicans.
Just like those rivers that now will have bridges that fell into them.
Yep. And the thing is, look, I covered this on our Rockfin show. Look, there's that one bridge over the Memphis River where it has this huge crack, and if it wasn't for a pedestrian, a regular civilian that caught it, no one would have noticed it, and thankfully they did because there could have been a huge, horrifying disaster. But see, that's just one bridge. I'm willing to bet, and Daniel, I don't know, maybe you might have the real number, just maybe run it by. Let's humor our audience. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's 1,000 other bridges like that all across this country.
Yeah,
I dread to say 10,000 because then I'm causing fear and panic. But I mean, let's face it, our infrastructure
that number is not wrong. I don't remember the exact number, but I know that the number of deficient bridges, just bridges, nothing else, is in the thousands.
Right, and so the thing is, we haven't invested into our infrastructure for decades. And the thing is, the Biden administration is still appeasing with the Republicans. We know what the Republican establishment is going to do, and we get this kind of bullshit. Gotta watch myself.
All I heard was Bolshevik.
Trying to be nice, YouTube, you bastards. Damn, YouTube, you used to be fun. Back on point. The point is that I know what Republican lawmakers are going to do. And we get this pushback. Well, how come you're so mean on the Democrats? Well, see, the Democrats' mentality, the political party's mentality is this. Oh, we suck, but that other team sucks even worse. That doesn't inspire confidence in me, and it shouldn't inspire confidence in anyone. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm going to vote third party. Because the Democrats have told me that really they have no spine. They have a majority. The progressives really do have a strong voting bloc, but the surrender squad, the fake squad, the fraud
I like
squad,
surrender squad.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
I mean, they don't know how to push back. They don't know how to fight back. Maybe I'm asking too much, but this is the time where we need bold, progressive initiatives right now. We need leaders to step up. And so the thing is, look, I do believe in voting because there is that. But there's another pathway too, and this is where it's going to be up to the people. And we talked about this at the U.S. Solutions Summit. And that is the people. Everyone has to step up to get actively involved in our political system because our politicians don't give a damn. But we have to make sure that we have a true movement here now more than ever. And I know it seems frightening to a lot of people because right now the economy is crap. People are still at risk of being evicted from their homes. We have student debt. We have medical debt. But this is the time where you sitting down right now is your time. Your Democratic and Republican lawmakers, whoever they are at the state or federal level, they're not doing enough, so you have to take charge because it's always been you. You have what it takes to push back. Now, we're here at Independent Media, and look, we are being censored, but we got to all of us together push forward. Hearing Bernie Sanders even talk, like even I'm getting exhausted hearing him speak. His advisors have, even some of his close advisors off the record have said like the fight's all out of him. So if the fight's all out of him, look, Bernie, you inspired a lot of people, but now it's up to us to step up and fight back. Daniel was the final note.
Yeah. I think Bernie has, again, that flame that we saw back in 2016 especially has burnt out. He is now just relegated to just doing whatever the Democrats tell him to do. Still saying the same thing he's always said, but we already know, he's already won. He's already gotten everyone convinced. It's, we're just letting Joe Manchin do whatever we want. Bernie Sanders isn't willing to do the same. Squad isn't fighting. They're surrendering at every turn. And Republicans are just doing what they want.
Yep. And I think I'm going to end this with Calamity 2007, #General Strike. Now more than ever, everyone needs to step up.